What's up guys, it's Nate here. Today we're going to be reviewing the Fallen Trooper. This is the new one that came out in the end of 2019. So the first thing we're going to cover is my first thoughts of the shoe straight out of the box, and especially in comparison to the old one. First thing I noticed as soon as I pulled the shoe out was that it had this the elastic tongue strap built right into the shoe. This here is a major piece for me. I always look for that in any shoe. The original Trooper had that, and especially the Trooper SL as well. That's when they really nailed it in. I'm really glad they had this one. Another thing I was looking for whenever this shoe first came out was I really wanted to see what the toe box looked like in comparison to the old one as well, because it looked a little bit different in the photos. And once I got the shoe out of the box, the toe box is definitely different, but it's not worse. One thing on the old shoe was the toe box had an extra layer stitched on. It was a completely separate layer in comparison to the actual toe box. On this one, they just put this EV layer on top of it rather than having two layers. This was a pretty major question for me on the durability of this, or how it would hold up, or if it would hold up better. I think looks-wise, this looks great in the toe box. They just put this extra layer on there without actually putting that piece. So it looks clean, it looks fresh. The ollie pad, they kept that, which was awesome. That design looks exactly the same as the original Trooper, as well as these little lace fins up on the top. This is just sheerly aesthetic. I don't think it has any function, but I do love the look of this. Just like the classic Trooper, it does have the little lace loop in the toe, or on the front lace. I mean, that's just a cool aesthetic look. One thing I did notice as well whenever I pulled the shoe out of the box was canvas. Usually a canvas is a pretty big no-no for me on any shoe. I was curious on how the canvas was going to hold up on this shoe. I was glad that they pulled it a little further back. It's not really in the flick zone or anything. It's not on the toe, it's not on the ollie area, it is just on the backside, but we wanted to check that out as well. All right, so this is what the Fallen Trooper looks like after it's been skated for almost 3 months. First thing first is the toe box. Like I said, when this one doesn't have that extra layer like the other one did, they just had this little like printed on layer. This held up a lot better than I thought it was going to. The perk of not having that extra layer is there's nothing catches on the grip tape whenever you flick, so nothing peels down or anything. That wasn't necessarily an issue with the original Trooper, but it was kind of cool to see him change up and keep a cool looking shoe where it still looks like a Trooper. Now the toe I did have a little bit of a tear in the toe, but this lasted so much longer than a normal shoe. Usually I can make a skate shoe last between 5 and 7 weeks. Like I said, this one was almost 3 months before this toe started to tear at all. The ollie pad, just like on the original Trooper, this ollie pad has always held up well. It's just an extra layer. They didn't leave any exposed stuff underneath it. They didn't use this to patch up a seam or anything. They just had the two seams together with the ollie pad on top. It's just the 3 layers is always going to be better than just 2. Just like any shoe, I always tear laces, so that's I wasn't too worried about that because I tear laces regardless of what shoes I have. One of the major things I did notice about the shoe that I was most impressed with was actually the canvas. I know that's crazy to say. I usually can't stand canvas on any part of the shoe. I thought this would tear. This would be a while was going to stop wearing the shoe because the canvas would tear. The canvas actually held up great. Surprisingly, it didn't even tear at all or anything. Even after I ripped this the little ollie pad where the laces loop in, the canvas held. Another perk that the canvas had was canvas doesn't stretch nearly as much as suede does. So with the canvas being in the middle of the shoe, like kind of right where your arch goes, since the canvas never stretched out, my shoe always kept its shape. It always felt snug on my foot, to where a suede shoe after a while would start to stretch and blow out. That was a great perk. I know that's crazy to say with canvas. Another thing was a little bit different about this shoe was there was significantly less padding in it than the original Trooper. But the cool thing about that, along with the canvas, like I said, it held its shape. The padding never really blew out or smushed out or anything. The padding held its shape the whole time. The tongue didn't ever flatten out. The padding in the tongue stayed. The sole of the shoe, this is the exact same sole Fallen uses for their Patriot in their lineup right now as well. It doesn't look any different at all. I do know the original Trooper had a slightly different sole pattern than this, but this one was great. The bottom of the shoe never flattened out. The tread stayed great. The zigzag pattern's always been my favorite. I think it grips the best, and it doesn't flatten out nearly as quick as other shoe brands' patterns. So this is always going to be a classic design. This one checks out perfect. So anyways, guys, final thoughts on the shoe is this is a great shoe, 10 out of 10. I would definitely skate this again. I would definitely recommend this. Even if you are somebody who likes to skate a thinner shoe and you maybe want to transition to a bulkier shoe, but you don't want to go to something that's really padded, this one's a great in between. It doesn't feel extremely bulky, but it's not the thinnest shoe. This one, if you're an avid cup sole skater, perfect shoe for that. Durability, definitely would rate it very high for that. Like I said, this is one of the longest lasting shoes I've skated in a long time. And then I guess like style wise and aesthetic, this is all time great right here. I would say they really nailed that classic look of the original Trooper and brought it and made it modern to where it still looks great even in 2020. Where I get my shoes from, where I get all my skate supplies from, if you want to grab a pair of these Fallen Troopers, I get them from So Stoked Skate Shop. It's in Lexington, North Carolina. They got all your skateboard needs that you would need. So if you ever need anything, hit them up, and we'll see you out there.